Okay,
and I
we
will
are
start.
live. We are recording. Happy Friday, everybody. It's me again, Ethan. And then, of course, next to me is Sakib. A lot of interesting things have happened. It's one day after Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to all of you. And some exciting things happened during Thanksgiving. If we look here, someone paid an outrageous transaction fee of $3.1 million dollars for a single Bitcoin transaction. Sakib and I have many, many theories about it, from it being a publicity stunt to just someone who, didn't know what they were doing and a human error. And it seems that the more research that we're doing, the more it seems intentional. What are your thoughts, Sakib?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the interesting thing is the Bitcoin wallet was created just minutes before this transaction was sent, but it definitely seems like it was on purpose. But I just can't find a reason why someone would do this on purpose.
Yeah, I mean, I agree too. And what's really interesting is the fees went to Antpool, which is a Chinese company. Antpool is basically Bitmain's mining pool. And I mean, the Chinese are not famous for, doing the right thing and, being kind
Yeah.
and returning people's funds and things like that. So if it was intentional, then it either has to be in cahoots with Antpool, or there's no way I would trust to send those kind of funds to China and then hope that ha ha ha, you did a good joke and we got a lot of attention, and now we're going to send it back to you. I wouldn't have that kind of faith, especially with what we know in the industry dealing with Bitmain. Everybody knows that if you have a problem or something goes wrong with Bitmain's products or services, you're pretty much out of luck. You got to take care of it on your own. What do you think, Sakib?
Yeah, I mean, like for example, F2 pool, they had like a 19 Bitcoin or so overpayment, and they returned it the next day. Some people speculated they returned it because of pressure from social media and whatnot, because everyone was kind of on them, return it, return it, return it. But in Antpool's case, they have been completely silent. So anyone that's reached out to them, they have not acknowledged that they received this overpayment. They have not spoken to any of the media. So I really doubt that they will be
We
returning.
know from our experience with Bitmain that that is not a good sign. That unresponsiveness, your answer is right there. That is pretty much all you will get about it, is just no response, no response. And so that kind of begs the question: if Antpool holds on to the funds, should the miners that participated in mining that block, should they get their cut of it? And Sakib and I did a little research. I'm going to pull up this picture here and switch here. And according to their payout strategy, which is PPLNS, correct, Sakib?
Mhm.
According to their
Yeah,
payout
that's right.
strategy, those miners, they don't get any of those fees. They don't get any of the transaction fees. So yeah, Antpool basically just got a $3.1 million payday that they're going to keep to themselves. And the real irony to it is, they are Bitmain, so yeah, they already have oodles and oodles and oodles of money. They're probably one of the wealthiest pools out there, just because of their position in the market. And they, of all of the pools out there, they could afford to return it more than the other ones, I would imagine. Um,
I mean, if you think about it, they've been mining with, pre-mining basically, mining with miners
oh yeah,
before they're out in the, and so they make money on the miners that they sell you, and now they're making money, on the pools as well. And
all
and
those
all of the
delays, yeah, on the L7 series, right? Those weren't delays because of factory issues. Those were delays because they were making so much money self mining with the
yeah,
machines before they were delivering them to you. Go ahead, keep talking, Skib.
exactly. And the other thing is, whenever you get a new Bitmain miner, you'll see that the pool that's automatically there, is an ant pool. So it's like default. whenever you turn on a brand new miner, it's already mining to them until you're like, oh wait,
Yeah,
I gotta change
exactly.
the
And
pool.
there was actually a lawsuit against that because I think a company they bought like oodles and oodles of machines, and I think this was in the S17 era, and I mean, they
Yeah,
bought millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of machines, tens of thousands of dollars worth of machines, and the thing is when you power these machines on, you can't immediately change the pool settings. Now, I think because of this lawsuit, they actually made an API to where you can start up a farm and then immediately connect with everything and change the pool fees, but or the pool settings. But it used to be that you would have to manually go into machine by machine by machine and set the pools. And because there were tens of thousands of machines to do this, it took these guys like 2 or 3 days, and they sued Bitmain, because basically they used their power for 2 or 3 days and earned like, X amount of Bitcoin while they were having to go through these machines one by one by one. And I don't know what happened to that lawsuit. Sakib, do you remember that? Do you remember hearing about that?
I do remember hearing about it, but I kind of
That
forgot what
was
the end result was.
Yeah, I mean that was the same time that Eli, who used to work for Bitmain, he was leaving Bitmain, and he was telling us like they were burning files and deleting things, and lawyers, like they were talking to lawyers, and they had to like close down one of their U.S. offices and stuff like that. We never really did get to hear the outcome of that, but obviously with millions of dollars at play, and this being a big company that did the lawsuit, and they were scared. They were helter skelter. People were running out of the office, and they were shredding documents and stuff. Um, I'd say the case was really really strong, and 90% of the time these things just settle out of court. But yeah, I imagine something like that had to happen. And Sakib, I got a comment about your shirt today, man. You're wearing like an optical illusion. Like I'm seeing like trippy lines and everything in it. Uh, what's up with that, dude? Like, are you wearing?
No, it's not on purpose. I didn't know it was gonna do that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
okay,
It's like
I'll go with it.
it's like I'm on
It's
an
not like I
acid
can take
trip.
it off now.
Yeah. Now put the wife beater on, Sakib. Come on.
That's my morning meeting shirt.
Right, your morning meeting shirt is the wife beater. That's what I say. Good
But you know,
morning, wife beater.
the but you know the advantage of using Nicehash, and I know people kind of asked us why are we using Nicehash, is they do PPS, and that means whether the pool mines a block or not, you as the miner get the regular payout per the number of shares that you submit.
So go
So
ahead,
that
yeah,
kind of
break
gives
it
you
down, all the different types. You're sharing your screen right now. And is
yes.
there,
So there's
let's see if I
PPS.
can make it big here for everybody else to see. Can I do like a full screen? No, I can't. But yeah, see if you can zoom in on that so when people are watching, they can see that.
Okay.
Can you hit Control Plus on your keyboard and see if
Yeah, I am just gonna uh, go to the image here,
okay.
save as, downloads, and then I will just go into the image directly because I was doing it from the app here. Just give me 1 second.
I don't know if
Here
you
we go.
can. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So you're
Now,
just going to share the image directly on the screen here and then zoom in. Wonderful.
yes. Now share this, go live, and now I'm going to be able to zoom in.
Okay, yeah. Keep zooming.
So
Keep
everyone,
zooming.
more?
Yeah,
Okay.
just a little bit more. There we
Yeah.
go. That looks pretty good. I think you can explain things pretty clearly from there.
Yes. So there's basically three different types of methods that pools use. One is PPS, pay per share, FPPS, and then there's PPLNS. And NiceHash uses PPS, pay per share, which basically guarantees you a regular payout, which means that whether the pool finds a Bitcoin block or not, you still get paid according to the number of shares that you submit to the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, it kind of puts the burden on the pool and it gives you a sense of security as far as, ensuring that you always have your payouts. So there is no luck factor. So you don't have to worry about being lucky or unlucky. It's kind of straightforward that way. Transaction fee reward, I still have to look into this a little bit
Yeah, Sakib,
and see whether Nice has.
can I give my 2 cents? So I've used Slush Pool, and their
Yeah,
pool also has a luck factor to it, and you'll have a week where you make exceptional, like above what the luck should be, and then you'll have like a couple weeks, and it gets really frustrating. Like their luck becomes low, and you get less payouts, and so it really makes things, overall it always averages out, but it really can make things really
right,
frustrating because 1 month you have enough to pay your power costs, and you have profits left over, and then the next month you may just be 50 or $100 short of paying your power costs. And so it can really
yeah.
kind of put you in a tight situation not having that predictable payout. But go ahead and go with the transaction fee reward.
That's one reason why Slush Pool had, the number of people mining on Slush Pool is so low, is because miners want that sense of security. They don't want to just, unless you're like one of the really, really large miners. And even then, I mean, I know that Foundry, for example, Foundry Pool also is, PPS. So they also do pay per share, whether, the Foundry Pool finds a block or not. Um, so miners prefer that. It's definitely a lot more. It's a lot better in terms of security, and ensuring that you get regular payouts. Um, and this transaction fee reward, this is basically, for example, right now, an Antpool got 96 BTC instead of like 6.25 BTC. And so whether they're going to pay out or distribute that remaining transaction fee to their miners, that kind of depends
The pool
on the
policy.
pool that is either, yeah, the pool policy. And irregular connection. So there's no issues with irregular connections with PPS, but as you can see with PPLNS, you can have irregular connections, where you can either drop in, drop out, in a PPS connection. Oh, sorry, PPLNS connection.
And then,
And FPPS,
yeah, go ahead.
you go ahead.
Go ahead and explain it.
Yeah, yeah, with FPPS, you also get regular payouts, so you don't have to worry about your luck factor, whether the pool finds a block or not. And you do get a transaction fee reward, and there also aren't any irregular connections. But I don't really know that many pools right now that choose to do FPPS. At the end of the day, it's a business for them, and they also have to make
Can we find
something.
a pool
So.
that does FPPS?
Yeah, I,
Do,
I will definitely look into
does
that. And
Viabit maybe? I think they do
via
FPP.
BTC,
Yeah, via BTC. I call Viabit.
yeah,
Come up with
I've
your
been
own
looking
names
at
for
via
things.
BTC, and they have been around for a long time, but they are a Chinese pool at the end of the day. So um, it's kind of, we'll have to see. They're kind of just like F2 pool or Ant pool. They are a Chinese pool, and I don't know how safe I feel
I
keeping,
don't.
because you have to
Yeah,
keep your,
I don't, man. I mean,
you know,
these Chinese pools, Chinese companies. There just seems to be no accountability at the end of the day. Um,
right.
and my greed index is not so strong. I mean, if I'm losing a few sats a month because I'm
Yeah,
choosing a different pool, it's worth it for me to have that peace of mind. Um, One of the big selling points about Nicehash is, you don't judge a man, when the weather is good. You judge a man by what happens when the storm comes, and how they behave and how
yeah,
they weather the storm. And Nicehash has proven that they're good peeps and they're going to do the right thing when problems happen. And we've seen time and time and time and time and time again that the Chinese do the opposite. They tend to tuck their tail and hide and run. Not going to point any fingers or name any names, but it's just commonly known in the industry that If something goes wrong, or if there's a problem with the Chinese company, you're out of luck.
True. So, I mean, FPPS looks on paper, it looks like the best, but I think I don't know how much I would trust a pool that does FPPS because it's kind of like how is the pool making money, you know?
Well,
And
it's heavily dependent upon their liquidity, right? So if their liquidity dries up, if they have a streak of bad luck and their liquidity dries up, then how are they going to pay everybody connected to the pool?
exactly.
Right?
So, I mean, I feel much better with PPS because I know that Nicehash is making, 1 or 2%, and they have that, that amount
Well, we know
that,
the owner
they
of,
can
of
pay.
Nicehash directly, and you know, we we've followed them for many, 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 many years. So we're apprised that they're doing the right things, they're implementing best practices, they have a sound business model, they have a sound business strategy, and they've proven themselves through the test of time. And we've also seen how they weather bad situations. When they got hacked, they could have tucked their tails and they could have ran, but no, they buckled down and they found a way to make everybody whole and make it right. And that in itself is priceless.
And they learn from their mistakes. So I'm sure that they have better security
Oh, yeah,
now, and
absolutely.
they won't.
Yeah, the best security is right after you found out there's a hole, because then you really start picking and chipping away to make sure that there are no vulnerabilities. You put in, security policies. Like, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. And you can think that
Right.
you're secure day in and day out, but until you've actually been penetrated with a vector, you don't know. You don't know that weakness. Once you've been penetrated with a vector, then okay, this is how they got us. And this is what we're going to do to make sure it never happens again. And here are some other vectors that we found that could be possibly taken advantage of. And we're going to patch those up too. Whereas, if you're just a company that's never been hacked and you're just implementing, best standards and practices, you don't know what you don't know until you know it. You could wake up one day and all the sirens are going off and the red lights are flashing, and it's pandemonium for you. And the last thing that I want is a Chinese company. Because you know what
Oh
they're going to
man.
do. They're going to start shredding documents and jumping out of windows and disappearing into the landscape. Like, there's not going to be an accountability or anything on that. So, yeah, you're so much better. We know that if something happens with Nicehash, they're not going to panic. They're not going to throw in the towel. They're not going to run off and disappear. They're going to try to work with us and make it right. And that's worth its weight in gold in our industry.
Exactly. And PPLNS, obviously, that's what Antpool is using, and they kind of have the best of both worlds, where they don't have to pay, do regular payouts. They only pay the miners when they find a block. But when they have a transaction fee that's higher than the block reward, they also get to keep that too. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know why anybody would mine on Antpool, but it is the default
Well, they were one of
pool
the largest
on.
pools. Do you think it's like a Microsoft situation where Microsoft Edge is the most popular browser, not because people use it, but because it just comes with
I
every
agree.
single copy of Microsoft? Like Antpool is a
Exactly.
really big pool, but it's not because everybody uses it. It's just because it's the default installed pool on every Bitmain miner sold.
I mean, most people when they get their miners, they're just like, how, just want to start mining, I mean, if I have to register with this pool, so be it.
I
So
don't,
that's
not on
usually
the
what they
scale
do.
that Bitmain is used, man. I mean, that's why we have a
Well, I mean, large,
staging. That's why we have a staging area,
yeah,
is so we can clear all that junk out before we actually connect, to the internet and
yeah,
get a live pool feed. So you are not giving them, any of our Bitcoin. One of the things, speaking of that, one of the things that I love about What's Miner is recently we went through and we were just doing housekeeping, and because we've had all these miners that we've had to have repaired, miners got shuffled around basically. And so miner one in position one wasn't there anymore. It got shuffled around. And so what we did is we just reset the whole farm and went through and reestablished static IP addresses for each machine, starting from the one position and then, going down row one and then row two. So we knew exactly where everything was again. And the whole time we were doing that, not a single machine connected to a default what's miner pool and started mining and stealing our power. So we were able to do that
Well,
whole thing.
yeah, and there is no what's miner pool. That just goes to show you, like, they don't have the same type of intentions that, Bitmain has. They could have easily made a pool,
Well, they do
and
have like a
put them on
dummy
it.
pool at the factory to where they can like test all their gear, but it only goes to like a simulation. It doesn't actually mine live Bitcoin like the Antpool does.
Exactly. Yeah,
Interesting things to know,
and that
guys. Yeah.
that is the comparison of the three different types of ways that pools pay out.
That
So
that's
we
awesome.
shall see what happens.
Well, I mean, I can already tell you what's going to happen is Antpool's not going to answer, and that Bitcoin's gone. It's gone forever and ever and
Yeah,
ever. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see how this story pans out because in the previous situations where something like this has happened, it's been a company that made the error. It was some sort of software glitch or something like that. And this, as far as we can tell, it was completely intentional. And okay, Sakib, did you place an order in CryptBooks by any chance?
no, no, I didn't.
We just got a
I'm actually,
notification that there's an order in CryptBooks. Can you look into that?
I'm checking it out right now.
Okay. Actually, if you guys want to
Uh,
see a little bit behind the curtain, I can show you guys. Let me log in here into CryptBooks, which is our
looks
own
like we did get an order.
software. And let's go to orders here. Ryan O'Brien, is he a previous client of
Yep,
ours?
I know Brian. No, actually, Moonraker Mining sounds familiar
No,
though.
Moonraker is. Aren't they doing all the work in Oman?
No, that's not Moonraker. No, that's Moonlight Systems or
Okay,
something.
Moonlight
Yeah,
Systems.
yeah,
132K.
yeah.
Um,
They
yeah,
want 100. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they want 100 S19J Pro pluses, and did they want lift gate service? I mean, they put in legit information. So,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Oh,
Reach out
welcome to the
to,
bull market.
yeah, reach out to Ryan Sakib, and let's get this ball rolling. Now, wait a minute. We can, I think we can add it to a deal here. Um, I'll mark the status as active, I guess, until until we know otherwise. And yeah, yeah. I'll tell me what the margin is, Sakib. Well, we probably shouldn't give away too much information on a live AMA, but there should be a pretty good margin with that, hopefully. And speaking of payouts and things that's going on, I think we've had one of the highest earnings in the shortest period of time. So we didn't start. I think payouts went on Sunday our time, right? Right. So you had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then today, 4 days of mining. And in 4 days of mining, we made almost what would literally take us 7 days if we look previously. Um, let's see, total, so 0.06, 0.0657, 0.063. So we've actually made more in 3 days than what we made previously in a 7-day mining period. And it's because we're not paying all those exorbitant fees to get the payouts to the wallets every 4 hours or so. So That's amazing, guys. Like when I ran the numbers and I started doing the math and I started seeing like how it compounded over the course of a year, I was like, this is insane. We're losing $16,000 a year. It's more than $1,000 a month. I mean, that's like a couple of car payments, if not even, like if you live in a trailer, you could pay your trailer payment and your car payment with $1,000 a month, and that's completely ridiculous. I wasn't going to stand for that. So I'm really glad. And speaking of which, we need to close the voting for that, but I think it was unanimous. I don't think anybody voted to do weekly payouts anymore. If I'm wrong, somebody please correct me.
Was No, you're right. Let me see how many people. I think like almost everyone wanted
I
monthly
think everybody
payouts
who read
rather
the
than
message, yeah, pretty much all agreed. Like, let's get a bigger piece
22
of the pie.
people. Yeah. So 22 people out of the 32 people that are in the group,
Okay,
everyone wanted
that's
monthly payouts.
that's enough for a unanimous decision, I believe. So we will continue that. We will continue just to keep measuring the metrics of the earnings. Stellar week, guys. We didn't have a machine go offline the entire week. Everything's been running really smooth. I shared in the private channel some pictures from today of us doing the renovations for the new Monopoly site that we're going to run the 20 machines with. But we're also going to do those same upgrades for the current Monopoly site. Currently, we have power cables laying on the sand, and that's a big no-no for me. So we're going to upgrade all that, and we've got new PDUs coming in for all the sites because we've got just a mixed lot going on with these two sites that we bought specifically for the Monopoly project. They're just even though we replaced those PDUs, the new PDUs, I mean, the wires were slipping out as tight as Sakib and I could just like hammer. Sakib actually broke the breaker, which scared the crap out of me. Just screwing down on the screws in the breaker, and it's just not good. It's not up to our standards. So we're gonna have proper PDUs that have lug bolts that'll actually bolt the cable into place, not some breaker screw or something like that. And these are going to be awesome. And then from here on out, Sakib, I think we're going to do network enabled. We're in the process right now of getting some quotes for what's really awesome is we found out we can actually upgrade the power to 1.5 megawatts. So not just 1 megawatts.
Yeah.
So this whole time that we've been in this area, I've been told that we could only do 1 megawatt powers.
One
But
meg.
by this electrical contractor that's doing all this work for us and digging the trenches and laying the wire, the right way and conduit pipe and making manholes and stuff like that, they told us that they can get us 1.5 megawatts. And so we're waiting. I'm excitedly waiting on that quote to come in on Monday. And if everything is within, a reasonable budget, which I believe it will be, I think the sky's the
Yeah.
limit, Ski, man. I mean, I
I,
think
I'm excited.
I
Yeah.
think we might be getting that 1.5 megawatts for every site that we have, and then that means we have to make larger buildings to hold more machines, right? Because our current design only holds about a 0.5 megawatt. We tried to see if we could
Yeah.
theoretically squeeze a whole megawatt into our current size, but it just doesn't look like logistically it'll fit. So, we'll have to double the size of our buildings. And when that happens, what are your thoughts on upgrading the power for the Monopoly projects, Sakib? I mean, it would take things offline for like a couple of days, for sure.
Yeah. I was thinking like for Monopoly, maybe once we do, if we choose to do something in the future, like a white list, and if we have enough interest, then we can do the power upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I would see it too. Like we can kind of proactively have everything designed and ready to go, ready to be turnkey, and then if there's enough interest, um, we could introduce it to possibly be a phase two of
Yeah.
Monopoly. But I'm just thinking out loud of possibilities. I know some of you guys are like phase two, phase two. Here's my money, take it. No, no, no. We're still phase one and done. But yeah, we would definitely need considerable interest. Um, I really appreciate. First of all, I really appreciate everybody that participated in the project, and I just enjoyed working with all of you guys. It's been fantastic. Um,
Same here. Yeah.
but I was, originally, if you looked at the original white paper, it's 50 megawatts that we were
Megawatts. Yeah.
intending to build out. And honestly, you guys, the community, have been wonderful, and you've been so supportive and encouraging for me and Sakib. My real frustration in the industry isn't with you guys, it's just the influencers and just the marketing side of it. Um, I just, so many people that we talked to, and all of them just promised the world and said they could do this and said they could do that. And we just saw them, one by one by one, just drop like flies. Like we had one guy, we paid him how much, like 5 grand or something. He just disappeared. Like he just took the money and then stopped. He did an Antpool. He just took the fees
It
and
didn't
then
have,
ghosted, like no response. Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I mean, let me put it this way. In the scale of things that I live my life, I mean, losing 5K, that's not like, that's not going to break me. That my bills still get paid, I still get fed. But it was just the whole, just no honor at all with them.
Yeah.
For them, it's all about, just saying whatever they got to say to get your money, and then maybe they'll deliver, maybe they won't deliver.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe they'll be a good guy, and maybe they won't be a good guy, and but it's just that was just like nauseating to me. It like literally made me feel sick to my stomach. So it wasn't so much like the money aspect of it. It was just the meat grinder aspect of it that I could truly see. Now some influencers really do care. I think Yabox really cares. I think Alex
Yeah.
really cares, and he really is passionate about what he's doing. And I think James Pelton also cares. I got to give that guy a lot of respect because he did come out and he did apologize to us. Um, and I'm not
Hmm.
talking about those guys, but those guys are really like the few. They are
Few.
the
Yeah. Few and far.
minority. The rest of it is just a meat grinder of just to make money.
Just,
There's nothing else to
and
it. And that was what
the worst
really,
part is,
yeah. Go ahead, Skip.
like the worst part is, they're using the faith that their community has in them, as a voice and as a respectable, knowledgeable voice in the community. That's what they represent themselves as. But then they're using their community, they're kind of it's kind of like the Pied Piper,
Yeah,
like, that's kind of, taking them down into the water. It's ridiculous. I mean, a community member reached out to me today, and he was talking about this new Bitcoin mining project, and I'm not gonna name names, but I'll just say this, like they had no specifications as far as what terahash they're gonna provide per NFT or whatever. Their whole model is there, if you buy a Bitcoin ordinal from them, you have access to buy your own miner at a reduced price. They're
okay.
saying reduced price, but
So they have
the
an
reduced price,
H&P model.
yeah, well, like, they say they're working with Luxor or whatever, but
Oh my gosh.
what the yeah,
Oh
this
dear.
is-
Oh dear. They got an
they're
H&P
basically
model working with that. Okay. Do you know what H&P
and they're
stands for,
saying that
guys?
if you
An H&P,
go for it,
yeah. H&P stands for hope and pray. So they have a hope and
yeah,
pray model,
open.
because they haven't figured anything
Well,
out
I mean,
yet. But they're working with Luxor. Luxor will work with anybody, guys.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
except us,
and
which is interesting,
well,
right?
the
That
thing
should
is,
speak volumes.
they're saying that if you buy their Bitcoin ordinal, then they'll give you an access to a reduced price on an S19K Pro 120T. But I checked the market price, and it is definitely not the reduced price. It's higher than market price. So that's one. So that they're not really giving you anything. Number two is they're going to host your miner at 7 cents per
Oh
kilowatt hour.
my gosh,
And
that's not even going to be profitable. So
exactly.
so they have a
And
POI and an HMP model, a prey on ignorance and a hope and pray model.
exactly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, anybody who knows the prices of the market and the value of the market knows that hopes and prayers do not make an effective mining business model, and POI, prey on ignorance, also does not make an effective mining business model. So if you guys are seeing these red flags in any of these projects, use your voice, be vocal. Use your power of knowledge, educate and enlighten people. Like you can't just jump in this market with hopes and prayers and prey on ignorance and hope to be successful anymore. You've got to bring more to the table. You've got to beat what we are doing in our project, or at least come to some semblance of an equality to what we're doing in terms of transparency, in terms of, the math is obvious. With this, the spreadsheet, we show everything with you guys. The wallet, you can look at yourself. It's all there, right? With clarity, with sound reason. And if any of these things are not being clearly and easily shown to you, get out, run away, tell everybody else to run away. Throwing
You
around
know, the
names.
worst part is
Yeah, go ahead, Ski.
they the worst part is, like I asked the guy, ask them what's gonna happen to the miner. Can you liquidate it when you want? I mean, they're giving you access to a reduced price S19K Pro, but then what happens when you want to sell it? Like you buy it, you host it with them, but then what? Like you just have an NFT that says that you own an S19K Pro, but you can't really sell it. So really, you just bought them an S19K Pro. Stuff like this. Oh man,
Well,
yeah.
how do they give you an ownership over that? Like it's not like it's going to have your name on it, right? You're buying some NFT ordinal that it has no. I mean, I guess you could prove in a court of law that you own the wallet or whatever, but I mean, who if you've only bought like one machine or two machines, I mean, people who get into these things, it's because they can't afford to buy a whole machine and host it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would just simply buy a whole machine and host it themselves. That makes more sense, right? So
Mhm.
they basically know they can get away with this because they know that the people that they screw over, they're not going to be able to financially come after them. And yeah,
Right.
it just makes me sick. Just makes me
Yeah, bro.
sick to
This is
my
why we
stomach.
did Monopoly.
Well, we made Monopoly because we wanted to show, we wanted to be the gold standard. you know and I
Yeah.
hope people say, I can do better than Monopoly. I want to see better than Monopoly. Show me where I made mistakes. Show me where I can improve. I would, if everybody does better than what we did, then we have done a genuine and great service for the space.
Mhm.
If everybody ups
Yeah,
their
we have set.
game because they now have to beat the standard that we set, then we have done a great, and I will sleep peacefully at night. I will feel like mission accomplished. We may have not, gone to the great heights or the grandeur of some of these other projects, um, but we changed things. We
Mhm.
implemented change, and we now become the standard that everyone else has to adhere to, or better, in order to be considered successful. And if they're not trying to do that, then they're a joke. They're just a joke. They're just, hopes and prayers. They're people that really don't know what they're doing. And you really shouldn't, even if it's $5, no matter. And that's where they get you, is they start making the NFTs cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. $50.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like,
they're still $300, dude. For
well,
for
but
$300, you get to buy
you
an
get
ordinal
what?
that allows you access.
Access to
Nothing.
buy, yeah, to
Access,
buy a miner above market price. Ooh, I'm all in.
which you you can buy on your own and host on your own.
Yeah. First of all, I
Why do
don't
you
need.
need
I've
that?
only got the $300. I don't even have enough money to buy a miner on my own. But yeah, that's a smart business decision. I'll pay $300 so I can overpay for a miner later. I mean, clearly
Yeah,
these plans are not well thought out, folks. They're these plans are not well thought out.
but
Yeah.
if you see their website, they've got fancy videos and all the shenanigans and graphics and all that.
Well,
That's where
now
they've
I'm
put the
curious. I don't
money.
even know who you're talking about, man. I'm just speculating with you. Wait a minute. I'll do plausible deniability so I can just run my mouth. Um, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. I mean, that's what it all is, man. There's no substance. It's all just about the look and feel. And oh, I've got $300. Um, and I'm actually surprised at being as little as our project is. There are still a considerable number of people. How many are left? Like maybe 10 or 11 that have like made no contact to us, no attempt to get a payout or
Oh,
anything.
I'm shocked at that. Like, were they just expecting
I don't
to just,
know. I don't know. Like they,
well,
I have no idea.
own
Like
the NFT?
maybe they like bought so much stuff that we just got lost in the shuffle and they like don't even remember buying our stuff. Maybe they were a little bit tipsy one night after watching a video and they're just like, okay, I'll buy it. And then they forgot the next morning. They're like, oh man, that was a heavy night of drinking. And like they don't have any idea that they have it. I don't know. I have no clue. Like
25 25 NFT, 10 people. Well, no, 9 people. Yeah, 9 people that just haven't reached out or anything.
nothing. Like made no attempt to contact us. And I can understand for like the people that did the one offs. Like maybe they were drinking a little bit too much, having a little bit too much good time. They got caught up in the video and they're like, okay, I'm gonna get one. And they did it and then like literally the next morning they were like, I don't know what the hell happened last night. I can understand those guys. But there's one guy that has 8.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that guy actually he emailed me. I asked him for his verification information, but he never replied. So he did email me, the guy that
Okay.
has 8.
Okay.
So I'm still waiting for his reply.
Well, let's not wait for the replies. Let's try to chase these guys down and get them in because I feel bad. Like, the whole reason why we work so hard to get up and hashing so fast is so you guys could benefit for your benefit. And if you're not benefiting, then yeah, that's not good. That's not what we're all about. So let's see if we can chase these guys down. I'll send him an email as the CEO or whatever. Sometimes people respond to me differently than they respond to you. Um, but yeah, I mean, great news with what's going on with the sites, guys, and we're really excited to get these renovations completed by next week and be up and hashing by hopefully the next AMA.
Yeah,
The we
that is the goal.
Yeah, so we hope to. I sent some video. One of the videos I had was too long, and I couldn't upload it, and that's so frustrating about Discord. I really wish we could move to Telegram or something that we use on a regular basis instead of Discord, because Discord just seems. Well, I've never really liked it. It's not very user friendly, and it's just kind of janky and weird, and um,
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. It's like really popular in the NFT space, though.
Yeah. It's every NFT project has to have a Discord.
That's what I hate about it. So maybe if we ever do like a future project, like we do a BIC or something like that, we can just change it all up and say, no, we're not even going
Good.
to touch Discord. We're going to be Telegram only. I don't mind if
Yeah.
everybody finds my phone number. I've got nothing to hide. Um, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, somebody asked some questions here. Math numbers is key. Most projects just sell a dream without the math. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And the thing is if you do this business, right, and you have experience in this business, then you know the math, you know the numbers. And like I've been trying to explain to you guys, it is floating point math. So there are things like there's no way I could predict that somebody was going to do a $3.1 million transaction fee for a single transaction. Um, oh, you're going to Great Wolf. Wonderful. Um, yeah, I wish I could say positive things about Great Wolf. I only went there once, and my room was so filthy that I complained to the management, and they moved me to another room, which was also filthy. But because it was less filthy, I tolerated it for the night, and that was the first and last time I went to Great Wolf. Oh no. But that was many many years ago. That was when it was just built and it was brand new. That which was even more shocking and surprising to me. That I mean, I think it was literally only like a year or maybe even 2 years old when I had that experience. That was, geez, man, back in, I'm gonna say it was when I was living in Japan, and yeah, I went there with
Oh,
my daughter, and it must have been 2007 ish. I'm gonna say. So I mean, a lot of time has gone between now and then, so maybe it's a better place. I will say that the water park there was just dope. That's the only word I can use for it. Like, I mean, I could play in that water park if they haven't changed anything. Hopefully, they haven't changed anything. But the water park, I think we spent like we didn't even go to Kings Island one day. We just spent the whole day in the water park because the water park was just so awesome, and it like had so many different like slides and just like cool things, and like yeah, it was like one of the coolest water parks I've ever been to. But the actual hotel itself was, and you gotta remember too. Well, I don't know if I don't want to say if my standards were higher. The older I've gotten, kind of more curmudgeony. Let me put it that way. The older I've gotten, the more kind of curmudgeony and the less tolerant of just BS that I've gotten. And so I was much younger then. I was in my 30s versus 40s now. But the room was dirty to a point where it did upset me. So yeah, my advice is check the room very thoroughly, and if there's a problem with it, don't hesitate to go to the staff and say, look, this is unacceptable. This room has three dead bodies, and minimum is just one. I can only tolerate one dead body in a room per night. Yeah. Um, and honestly, I can't remember what it was that, okay, well, it was two things. We got one of the rooms and it had like a hot tub in it, and it looked like somebody just slathered themselves in Vaseline and then just rubbed their body against the mirror that surrounded the hot tub. I mean, it was just disgusting. And then it had like a couch, and I lifted up the one of the cushions on the couch because it had a pull-out bed, and there was like a whole pie just smashed into like the mattress of that bed. And it was just like I was like, oh hell no. I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. This is disgusting. I'm not touching that hot tub. I'm not touching that. I'm not sitting on that couch. None of that. I'm out. Yeah. So just make sure you check it over, and if you see something amiss, raise a stink about it. And they had something else too, where they were like doing some water conservation thing, and they were like, yeah, we're trying to save on laundering, or save the environment, and if you don't want fresh towels, like you throw them in a corner or something. And the corner like had like all these pubes and stuff, and I was like, oh hell no. I was like, yeah, it was just, yeah, it was all kinds of janky. I think I was actually like really bent. Like I had trouble going to sleep that night. I was like, I can't believe this, because the reservation was expensive, and I had to make it months in advance when I was still in Japan. Before I even flew from Japan to the U.S. with my daughter. And yeah, I was not a happy camper. But I will say that the water park helped me forget about all of that. That day at the water park was one of the funnest days that I can remember of those times. So enjoy the water. And don't fall for the whole Disneyland bracelet BS where like you have to buy like $100 thing to get free games and all. Don't do that. Don't waste your money. In Disneyland, it's okay because when you're in Disney, it's just like you're in casino. You're just throwing money left and right. Just here, take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll buy it. Like in Disney, it's okay. And you make that kind of a once in a lifetime experience. You go to Disney with your daughter and you blow 20K, no problem. It's a once in a lifetime thing. But don't do it at the
Right.
Great Wolf. They try they try to make it that level. And I will say that Disney, no complaints about housekeeping at all. What is it? Is it Disneyland in Florida? Is it Disney World? I get them all mixed up.
Disney World. Disney World
Disneylands
is
are
in
the ones
Florida.
that are outside of the world, all around the world, right? Yeah, Disney World in Orlando, Florida. I mean, no stone unturned. Every little detail. I thought I was gonna hate it because my daughter is like infatuated with Disney. She has been since she was a little child. She's got "If You Wish Upon a Star" tattooed on her back now and shit, and like, even though she's pregnant with my second grandchild. She's pregnant with my second grandchild, so I'm not gonna have two grandchildren. But I thought I was gonna hate it. I thought it was just gonna be something that I would have to miserably tolerate. Go in there, but everything was so detail oriented and just so perfectly executed that, but within a day or two, I was just so impressed with it. Like every little. I'm a very detail oriented
Yeah.
person with OCD, and it blew me away. I literally relaxed and really enjoyed myself because they did just such a spectacular job of perfecting every little detail, even
Yeah,
down to the
it's totally
sidewalks.
immersive.
you know,
Yeah.
over time sidewalks, they can become unsettled and land will shift. And they'd actually gone through and grinded the sidewalks level. And it was just
Yeah.
those, every little, corner that my eye would catch that would find flaws, I just found perfection. And I was taken aback by it. As a matter of fact, I almost feel like I should do it again. Like I feel like, maybe I should blow another 20 grand with the grandkids. Well, now with the grandkids and inflation, it's going to probably be 80 grand. Uh, but yeah, I definitely would feel comfortable going back. Like, before I felt like, but now I feel like, oh yeah, I could definitely go back and I would appreciate it and I would enjoy it. Um, I'm telling you guys too much personal stuff.
Well,
Yeah, we stayed at Animal Kingdom for a week and it was pretty good. What really took me away was like when I went to the Star Wars. Like I was just like,
mhm.
my daughter had to pull me out of that. She's like, "Come, let's go see something else. I want to pet the animals." I'm like, "No, I'm in Star Wars, man." Like Kylo Ren, I got a picture of me and Kylo Ren together. um, yeah, and when we went to Epcot as well, and I told you the funny story
Ep-
about Epcot, right, Sakib?
yeah,
Did I tell you the funny story
Epcot
about
was
that?
cool. No,
So,
I
so
didn't. Not the funny story about.
around Epcot, they have all these. I don't want to say like they're like micro representations of a country. So they've got Japan and Spain, and you
Yeah.
can go to
Yeah.
restaurants that are in line with their foods and their cultures and stuff like that. And so my daughter and I went to the Japanese exhibit, and of course my Japanese was much better then. And like obviously when we were entering, there was a Japanese guy and he was like, "Oh, konnichiwa, yokoso," and he was welcoming us in there. And started just shooting a breeze conversation with him. I was like, "Konnichiwa, how long have you been here?" Asking him in Japanese. um, and he was like, "I've been here for 8 months or whatever." And then my daughter started speaking to him. My daughter is Japanese for all intents and purposes. I mean, she doesn't know how to speak English. And I heard that motherfucker say, "Oh, your Japanese is so good." And I was like, that's because she is Japanese. You know, like you racist piece of shit. Like just assume that she's not Japanese because she's with me. Um, I was like, she's fresh off the boat. She just landed 7 days ago from Japan. So, but you're just assuming that she's not Japanese, and that was kind of one of the big problems I had with living in Tokyo is that no matter how good your Japanese was, that you would never be treated like Japanese. And even my daughter, she complains about the same thing. To me, she falls within the lines of Japanese, but other Japanese can tell like she's not pure or whatever, and they've bullied her or made her life difficult because of that. All right, so I see that we've got Rebel here. Rebel, yes, welcome to the AMA. I'm glad you can make it. We did things a little bit later today, so you could join in with us, and hopefully we'll be doing it later. Looks like we're running out of time, folks, so I'm not going to make this too much longer. But in summary, wrapping up, I'd like to say from here on out, we will not be doing the AMAs from this channel. We'll be doing it from the private channel. So please be aware of that. Please be aware of the announcements in the private channel. Also, we're going to go through, there were a lot of like really wasted, I don't know what you call them, like topics or subcategories or whatever in this channel that were like never even used. And we're going to get rid of all that in the new server and just keep things like really simple, really focused, really easy to find things. As we leave this channel, like I said, I'm going to leave you guys, the members, as best as I can reckon behind. So if somebody new just happens to stumble in, you guys can be a guiding hand and guide them to the private server. The private server, private is kind of a misnomer. It's private in the sense that we're not publicly advertising it, but you guys are welcome to bring friends and family to the other server. Or just anybody in general. If you're in another group and you meet somebody who would be interested in knowing more about the mining industry and what's real in it, feel free to bring them into the channel. The one thing that I will say is that I do want the channel to be active. So if people are just kind of coming in there and they're taking up space and they're not really interacting or being a part of the community, I will do prunes periodically just to prune out the inactive people. Again, they'll be able to rejoin or whatever, but yeah, fundamentally I want it to be not just like a junk Discord server that's just holding a bunch of fluff, but one that really is growing and cultivating a community. And Roop, we were meaning to have you come on and talk about your project during this episode, and I guess he got busy, or did we just kind of drop the ball with all the other stuff? Yeah, let us know. We'd love to have you on so everybody can see your face and we can show that you're serious and that you really intend to do a good project with everyone. So please let us know. And again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's Friday. Hope you have the whole weekend off. And don't spend too much money with Black Friday. Right? I've learned over the years that I used to splurge every Black Friday and buy like a brand new workstation. And I found out that the prices are actually like 20% higher on Black Friday than they are during the rest of the year. All right, good to know about your pies there, Rebel. Hope one day I can have a slice with you. That'd be really great. I'm going to sign off here, guys. And like I said, have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
All right, see you guys.